Hey folks, I'm totally not named Dan, though you can call me that if you want, and I try to catch every rules update for the My Hero Academia CCG and UniVersus, and I've been pretty good in the past, but recently stumbled across a little tidbit that I'd missed, largely because they didn't put it in the actual game rules, they put it in the tournament floor rules instead. Which is interesting because that means that this doesn't apply to casual games, it only applies to large events. The rule in question is what they call the simultaneous games loss rule, but I know better as the self destruct clause from Pokemon Stadium, of all things. In Pokemon, the short rule is no self destruct move with last Pokemon, but if you open it up, take a bigger look, it's if your last remaining Pokemon uses self destruct or explosion, you lose, even if the opponent's last Pokemon faints. So basically, if you use any moves that destroy yourself, it doesn't matter if your opponent's also destroyed in the process, you lose first as per this additional rule. So that is not a game mechanic, or it wouldn't need to be written here, that is an additional rule. Now, the My Hero equivalent, we looked at this in a video a little while back. The issue came up of Cinder Convection. Rules changed so that instead of it being you choose the order that the effect was resolved, you'd resolve both effects simultaneously, essentially. Both players would take 2 damage at the same time if the attack wasn't blocked, and so both players would lose at the same time if their health was low enough. And that would result in a draw, and we had no idea what happened in a draw, and we spent ages trying to figure it out. To the point where I actually sent it to a friend of mine to edit up as a short, because it was an entertaining amount of suffering on my part. Now we have a proper answer. If an effect or ability, when activated, would result in a simultaneous game loss at time of resolution, the player that used the effect or ability would be determined as the loser of the current game. Note this specifically says at time of resolution, so if somehow the activation of the effect, cost, results in both players losing, this rule doesn't cover that. As far as I know, there is no cost that can do that, but this game is funky. There will be a way eventually if you give it enough time. There's still the potential loophole for a problematic tie further down the lines, but for now, they're no longer allowing you to go to game 7 or whatever in top cuts. All games will still be best 2 out of 3, and draws will count as losses for the player instigating them if instigated by an effect. Obviously, if instigated by time outside of top cuts, we can still have an overall tie, but in top cuts, there's no time limit, and apparently there are also single elimination formats like the last chance qualifiers to consider as well, in which this will also be enacted. So yeah, this solves a bunch of problems. It's not quite perfect, but it's just nice to see them address this finally, you know? That's all for today. I'll link the relevant other videos in the description, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!